What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey, everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, all right, we're coming back to another hockey video. Yes, indeed. Hockey fans, feeling you. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-bobbity bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Keenan Pell. And Keenan wanted to see me react to this, and there's a very specific reason that he wants to see me react to this, and I'll share that reason with you in just a little bit. But he wants to see me react to this video entitled, The Los Angeles Kings Professional Hockey's West Coast Relic. Now, have I seen this video before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have seen this video in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start watching this video and I go, wait a second, yeah, this looks really familiar, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So the whole reason that this request came about is there was a couple of hockey videos I've done where I've talked some smack. I have, and I'll be the first to admit it, because I talked some smack about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And apparently Keenan is a pretty big Maple Leaf fan. And he didn't take too kindly to me talking about the Maple Leafs the way that I did. So he sent me this request with a little message here. And the message reads, and I quote, "Well, David, now you did it. You decided to jump on my Leafs? Turn around and turn about is fair play. You always talk about how objective you are, and you keep personal feelings out of your scoring. Let's see if you can stay objective about your favorite hockey team, your Los Angeles Kings. Go Leafs." Okay, listen, I'm going to be objective. All right, I absolutely will. And we'll see how this video fares with me. Let's see, this video was posted by Urinating Tree. I am not even kidding. All one word, Urinating Tree. And the video has 238,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. The Los Angeles Kings, Professional Hockey's West Coast Relic. Okay, let's see what this video is all about. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
A Stanley Cup for Los Angeles. The Kings are the Kings.
The Stanley
they
Cup.
are.
It's one of the greatest treasures of the sports world. 9 months of relentless grinding and physical anguish in pursuit of that 35-pound trophy. Some say it feels weightless when you lift it. The glory in which a team basks in when they get it is one of the most cherished in all of sports. You've reached the top of the mountain, sometimes multiple times over. It just gets sweeter with age.
Yeah. Let's take a look at those banners again, shall we? Hold on. Let me back up a little bit. Ah, yes. The 2012 season. And then 2 years later, 2014 season. Oh, God. Glorious. Glorious. 2 years apart. Ah, yes, indeed. Tell me again, how many times in the last 50 years the Maple Leafs have won the Stanley Cup? Oh, yeah, that's right. 0. 0 Stanley Cup wins in the last 50 years. Yeah.
It's sweeter with age. The view never ceases to be impressive.
No, it
but
does
what
not.
happens when the glory days are over? What is a team's fate once players weather and the fires dim? What you get is a tired old relic. One such relic is the Los Angeles Kings, a team as stiff and unresponsive as the cup itself. A squad that has seemingly grown fat and complacent with the challenges scaled. The Kings are a team wrought with problems, a decrepit old soul dealing with a vast array of ailments and illnesses. They're getting straight up smacked around the rink every time they're chucked out there, half-heartedly going through the motions so they can collect their bloated paychecks. This sort of situation didn't happen overnight for the Kings. In fact, you can argue the first seeds of futility were sown after their cup wins. The one thing many GMs try to do, in both an attempt to reward the players and fan base, is keep the gang around for many years to come.
Well,
in
yeah.
theory, it's a good idea. Keep familiar faces around for fan recognition, promote the brand, sell tickets. The only problem is that Father Time doesn't care for memories. He strikes down everyone eventually. It could be a guy like Marian Gaborik, one of the great heroes of your cup run, signing him to a 7-year extension in his early 30s. He declined rapidly as his body slowly crystallized into glass. It could be warriors like
true.
Mike Richards, with an arduous contract getting uglier as drug abuse sped up his decline. It gets so bad that he has to be bought out due to his death spiral. Let's just say they're still paying that one off. It can even be a franchise face in Dustin Brown, the captain, the keystone to their success. Rewarding this kind of player after a cup run seems like a good idea. Then you realize he's on the wrong side of 30 and plays a physical game. And also fell off a cliff. Multiple times. These sort of whiffs happen, obviously. It's inevitable since nobody can predict the future. But in the Kings' case, it occurred 10 times over. LA was going nowhere. Their once great upside was on the other side of the bell curve, and they were already paying dearly for contracts due for a long time. Changes needed to be made. Daryl Sutter is a legend and future Hall of Famer, but the Kings needed a new voice in the locker room. He was past his expiration date. The team had gotten stale and needed a shake-up. On the executive front, Dean Lombardi had lost his touch. He was the architect behind the Cup winners, but also of the awful contract situation and routine.
Okay, alright, look. I may not like what the points that are being made. The point about Dustin Brown in particular, I mean, that stunk, but at the same time, everything he has said so far is accurate. Dustin Brown, I remember when he did get signed, I don't remember it being an 8-year extension. I thought it was only a 6-year, but maybe it was an 8-year extension. I guess it was. Yeah, he was already in his 30s being added onto that 8 years. Yeah, like I said, I don't like it, but he's not saying anything inaccurate. Dave Lombardi, homeboy's gotta go. He was making some really bad calls. So yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily like it, but he's not saying it. He's speaking truth. He absolutely is.
Losing of trades. There's also the failure to find a replacement for Slava Voinov, who beat himself out of the continent entirely. They had failed the organization. There is nothing more that needs to be said. Both were fired. It was the end of an era, but it wouldn't be mourned. The next stage of Kings hockey will be one of new glories and triumphs. It would be led by the powers of Rob Blake and Luke Robitaille, old faces of the organization. Because that's what the hockey world needed to see.
Yeah, the good old boys club.
Another boys club.
Yeah, another good old boys club.
Alright, I'll give them a chance. I mean, I was wrong about Joe Sakic. It would take a mastermind to get the Kings through this labyrinth. This situation is the epitome of every franchise mode rebuild in existence. What they ended up getting was a revival of 2012. Nearly every member of the old guard was in a throwback to their prime. John Stevens wasn't falling into the same traps as in Philly. Andrzej Kopitar was producing like a franchise anchoring center. Jonathan Quick nearing his Vezina caliber form. Drew Doughty leading the back end with a season for the ages. Even Dustin Brown he of so-called Terabat contract was producing at a first-line rate. They were looking like the squad that upends everyone towards a shot at another cup final. Except it didn't. I would go for the whole lol you got swept by an expansion team angle, however the Kings were just flat out beaten in nearly every aspect of play. Those old names suffering deathly silence. Jonathan Quick merely hung out to dry as he couldn't outduel Marc-Andre Fleury. The goalie was a castaway stranded on an island of tactical outmaneuvering. It was a sweep, but it was deceiving as the games were competitive in nature. To Blake and Robitaille, though, this could be the start of a revival for the Kings. The time has come to build on this year's success. The answer for them was to get older. Because the Kings weren't a bunch of men that could have made their 2010 team yet, they doubled down on it. But hey, they're out of the muck of Matt Green and Rob Scuderi. Hell, they managed to free themselves of that awful Marion Gaborik contract during the season. All they had to do was swallow 3/4 of an equally bad one in Dion Phaneuf. And Nate Thompson's too.
Oh, no.
In
I remember the Phaneuf trade. Oh, yeah, that, oh, God. Kings fans across the nation cringed when that trade happened. I can't speak for every Kings fan, but I know me personally, I was sitting there dumbstruck. Like, when they announced it, I was like, what? What? Why? Oh, God, that was not good. That was not good at all.
Hell, they managed to free themselves of that awful Marion Gaborik contract during the season.
But
all they had to do was swallow 3/4 of an equally bad one in Dion Phaneuf. And Nate Thompson's too. In cap trouble, add more fuel to that fire. What LA needed, though, was a legit sniper for Anže. This may be their last hurrah for a cup run, and they aren't going to waste it. What they need is a throwback. 35-year-old Ilya Kovalchuk for 3 years at a $6.25 million cap hit and a no-movement clause. Younger options, fuck that, the Kremlin's giving us this old chalice from the days of Catherine the Great. But the big prize, oh yes, that would be re-signing Drew Doughty. The man wants to win champion.
Oh, no! I should have seen that coming. I should have seen this being brought up. Yeah, re-signing Drew Doughty. How many years? I remember it was a long term. He was like 34 or 35, and we signed him. What was it, to 8 years? I think we signed him with 8 years. He wasn't going to get out of the contract, I think until he was like 41 or 42. I remember the contract was long. I knew this was going to be brought up. I knew it. I knew it.
Younger options, fuck that, the Kremlin's giving us this old chalice from the days of Catherine the Great. But the big prize, oh yes, that would be re-signing Drew Doughty. The man wants to win championships and is the cornerstone of the defense. Good news, LA, you got him. A tremendous scoop for the boys club. 8 years and holy shit! 11 million per year?
I love the horn hit. Oh, that was great. Wait a minute.
The defense. Good news, LA. You got him. A tremendous scoop for the boys club.
8 years.
8 years and holy shit!
88 million.
11 million per year? Were you guys paying?
11 million. I didn't know that. I didn't catch that part when the trade happened. 11 million a year? Weren't like the top defenseman, like the best defenseman in the league, weren't they getting like 7 million, 8 million a year tops? And we signed him to 11 million a year. I missed that part. 88 million over 8 years. Are you kidding me? That, oh man, that hits. God.
Good news, LA. You got him. A tremendous scoop for the boys club. 8 years and holy shit! 11 million per year? Were you guys paying the free agent tax when there were no other buyers? You do realize the highest paid defensemen are making around 8 million, right?
Yeah. I just said that. The highest paid best defensemen were making 8. And look, I'm a Kings fan through and through. And Doughty is a good, solid defenseman. Would I ever call him great? No, not. I wouldn't pay him 8 million a year. At his age and his delivery at the time, I might have, if on the GM, I might offer him 5, maybe 5.5 at the time. Ooh, 11 million a year. I missed that part.
11 million per year?
Ouch.
Were you guys paying the free agent tax when there were no other buyers? You do realize the highest paid defensemen are making around 8 million, right? No knock on Doughty, he's a great player, but that much for Drew's latter
I
years?
would say.
Ever hear of the aging process? I hope you have the Fountain of Youth lying around for that. If I'm Eric Carlson, I'm sending you guys a fruit basket for the next decade. In normal situations, a team would exceed the laughable expectations I put on them and force me to eat ridiculous amounts of shit. Fortunately, I have been saved from such a fate. The only team eating shit are the Kings themselves. Who knew that a team as old as a natural history exhibit lacks any sort of speed or vitality? Even in a lumbering physical division like the Pacific, times are changing. The new wave of great teams boast one thing: speed. The Golden Knights made a killing off that last season. The frontline talent on the Flames has the same perk. The Canucks are starting to build that with their young core. Even the Sharks and Ducks boast more oomph in their skates than this sandbag-laden squad. Do you remember how the offense did during their playoff series against Vegas? That's as well as it's gone for them this year. Simply put, this team is the unlucky virgin in all of those coming-of-age comedies. They can never score. In this age of ice puck, if you don't have a reliable group of guys that can put the puck in the net, you're in serious trouble.
Wait.
The age of goaltending.
What was the line? Coming of age comedies? What was the line there?
Lucky virgin in all of those coming-of-age comedies than the sandbag-laden squad. Do you remember how the offense did during their playoff series against Vegas? That's as well as it's gone for them this year. Simply put, this team is the unlucky virgin in all of those coming-of-age comedies. They can never score. In this age of ice puck, if you don't have a reliable group of guys that can put the puck in the net, you're in serious trouble. The age of goaltending bailing out a struggling squad is near over. When a team has the least amount of goals in the league and their power play is also near the bottom, signs of life are minimal. Even during their decline, the Kings were one of the best puck possession teams in all of hockey. That skill is also flat out eroded like California sanity. Combine this with absolutely pathetic team depth, a suspect defense, and a Doughty ripping the team for malaise, and you've got the recipe for trouble. Even the youth they were counting on is struggling mightily. Despite trading the majority of their picks and prospects under the old regime for the cup runs, there's still hope. Meet the new wave of Kings. Adrian Kempe.
No.
Tyler Toffoli.
No.
Tanner Pearson. Jeez, Pearson is a special
Pearson
breed
got
of
better.
You know what would help making this team older? Trade him to the Penguins for Carl Hagelin? Look, I know you have to deal with the cap situation, but you're trying to boost scoring output by getting a guy that struggled to score goals on the line with Evgeny Malkin. But speed, am I right? The injury gods chose to put a hard stop to this experiment. But you know what? Even in this unwatchable state, they still have Jonathan Quick. And it turns out that dude also got the injury bug. Thus is another problem with the weather-beaten Kings.
I love the sound effects. With the injury, with the sound of the breaking bones. That's great.
Experiment. But you know what? Even in this unwatchable state, they still have Jonathan Quick. And it turns out that dude also got the injury bug. Thus is another problem with the weather-beaten Kings. Age has made them rather brittle. The renaissance of Dustin Brown was delayed earlier due to a broken finger. Ilya Kovalchuk's return involved struggling to adapt to the North American game again. And he got an injury. Dion Phaneuf and Nate Thompson, I think Kings fans honestly wish they were injured. It's sad when I only have to take a quick look at their base statistics and immediately deem they suck chunks. Once again, a change needed to be made. John Stevens has a shelf life of roughly 2 months on an NHL team before his tactics are ineffective. Regardless of style, the team isn't responding. The time has come to order 66 him for a retread because the NHL knows nothing besides shuffling coaches around like a deck of cards.
That's
the next
true.
victim, Willie Desjardins?
I will say when it comes to NHL teams, it's always the same coaches. It's always, and they'll shuffle the coaches around. Like you'll fire one coach, he'll go find another team in the NHL, and then you will find a coach within the NHL who just got fired, and you'll bring him in and hire him. That's one of my biggest gripes about the NHL as a whole is the incestuous nature of coaching and coaches in general. Yeah, that's very true. Oh boy.
The time has come to order 66 him for a retread because the NHL knows nothing besides shuffling coaches around like a deck of cards. The next victim, Willie Desjardins? The guy that was tactically spanked by fucking Calgary in a playoff series? A man whose idea of a third wheel for the Sedins was Jason Megna and Michael Chaput? I don't know how you did it, but you guys downgraded a coach. Unsurprisingly, he came...
All of Vancouver is laughing hysterically if you hear closely enough. I think he meant to say if you listen closely enough. Yeah, Yep.
Michael Chapeau?
Not
I don't know how you
disagreeing.
did it, but you guys downgraded a coach. Unsurprisingly, he can't deal with scoring wingers, and they have had a minimal response to the change. This has been the Kings. They are roughly Dion Phaneuf, an entity who's well past its heyday, who can't keep up with younger legs and is vastly overpaid for the services it provides. If you think it's bad now, just wait until
Oh,
the waiter
no.
comes with the bill for this disappointing meal.
Yep.
You guys have at least 2 to 3 years of being gridlocked on the 405 of cap issues. You're paying Kopitar until he's 36, Dustin
Yep.
Brown until age 37, Jeff Carter until 37, locked into Phaneuf until 36,
about-
a Jonathan Quick contract that expires at 37, Kovalchuk until age 38, Alec Martinez until 33, and the newly inked Drew Doughty locked down until 37. The minor league
37.
system is near barren at this point. You also have to
Boy.
decide on Toffoli, Jake Muzzin, and Derek Forbert in 2020 with expiring UFA contracts. Have fun. In no way am I blaming this situation entirely on Blake and Robitaille. The root of the Kings' problems were sown at least a half-decade earlier with trying to keep
Yeah,
the band
true.
together. What the New
True.
Boys Club did do was see a terrible situation and take a massive shit on it. The idea of trying
Yeah.
to compete with the old aging core has led to more careless contracts and a steeper bill at the end of the day. LA is the team embodiment of living in the past. When I look at the Kings, I see the old wrestler in his 60s stepping into the ring at a house show. It's just sad. I know you'll always have those memories of Stanley Cups to look back on, but let me warn you, memories fade. There will be a time when the
Yeah.
hunger for new adventures returns. Those old cups won't satiate anymore. Just ask the Oilers, Islanders, or Canadiens how that feels.
Or
in the meantime, the cruel,
Maple
merciless
Leafs.
bitch known as reality is knocking on the door. Kings, it's time to pay the piper. Hope you saved up for it.
And Neal away.
Wow.
Holla, tuck once the puck is on the left side, but in. Holla scores!
The glory of the boys club.
Good night.
Ooh. Yeah, when we got swept by the Knights, that was not pleasant. Yeah. Well, this was interesting as a Kings fan. This was definitely interesting to watch. Oh boy. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was the Los Angeles Kings Professional Hockey's West Coast Relic. This was a request from Keenan Pell. All right, Keenan. You challenged me with this, and let's see if I could, keep my personal feelings out of this scoring. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not easy, but I did. I was able to put personal feelings aside, watch the video, and look at the video objectively, and score objectively. Because believe it or not, while I may not like the score I'm about to give, there's no denying that the video absolutely deserves this score. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that video an 8.8. Yep, 8.8. Like I said, I don't like it, but yeah, that's exactly what I feel this video deserves. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, an 8.8. What does that mean? Well, an 8.8 would translate to a great scale rating, because overall, this was a great video to watch. It would also get 4 to 5 stars and an A letter grade. Yeah, an A letter grade. So there you go, an 8.8, great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. While I may not be thrilled about the topic of conversation, while I may not be thrilled at, watching the Kings decline ever since, 2014, there's no denying that every single thing that this gentleman, that urinating tree, I'm assuming that's the channel owner who was doing the narration, there's absolutely no denying that every single thing he said was accurate. He went through, grabbed stats, grabbed reports, grabbed headlines, grabbed facts, and put them all into a video that was made and edited in a very fun and entertaining yet extremely informative format. There were a few things I do remember. I do remember when Dowdy got re-signed, and I remember all of us as Kings fans kind of scratching our heads going, that seems like a long time for an extension for someone, you know, who's, I thought at the time, I thought he was like 32 or something like that, or 33, but I guess at the time of his signing, he was only 28 or 29. But I remember all of us kind of scratching our heads and going, we're going to be stuck with him for a while. The thing is, I don't remember when that extension was announced. I don't remember how much he was signed to per year. Seeing in this video that he was signed for $11 million a year for 8 years, $88 million. Listen, I like Drew Doughty. I do. I think he's a really good defenseman. Okay. Calling him great. I don't know if I would ever call him great. And certainly at the time, not worth $11 million a year. If I was the GM, I would have offered him $4.5, maybe $5 million a year. Maybe. I would not have done $11 million a year. And I remember I said it right before he said it in the video. I think the top defense guys were making like, what, $7-8 million a year? And I would not call Drew Doughty a great defenseman. I wouldn't do it. Never. All the points he made about the aging and with the extended contracts. I don't remember all of those, but he backed it up with facts, and it all lines up. Yeah, signing like Dustin Brown until he was 36. It's rough, man. It is. I mean, in the name of the video, it's accurate. You know, professional hockey's West Coast Relic. I mean, this video, I looked back, and this video was made like 6 years ago, and that would put us at, let's see, we're in 2025 now. 6 years ago, that would put us at 2019. Yeah, there was a stretch. I mean, we're still kind of in the stretch where it doesn't look good. We are looking old. We don't have the speed that a lot of the younger teams have. And it shows. And going back to what he was saying at the very end, do we really blame Rob Blake and why is this? He's one of the great Robitaille. Do we blame Luke Robitaille and Rob Blake for this? Yes and no. They took over the reins, but the problem is the destination had already been made. I mean, the problems were already there. The problem is Blake and Robitaille just looked at the problem and said, "It's not a problem. We'll just keep following the format." They could have changed the format, but they didn't. And we ended up with a dinosaur team. By the time I think 2017, 2018 rolled around, it was, I hate to say it, but as a Kings fan, it was kind of painful to watch. Everything that he's brought up in the video was accurate. Everything he said was backed up by facts. So I can't be mad at it. As much as I don't like it, I can't be mad at it because it's all based on truth. I love this guy, Urinating Tree. I really like this video. I like how it was edited. I like how it was put together. I love his voice, his diction, his tone. Sounds like almost sounds like an old movie trailer vocal. He's got a nice voice for sure, and it worked in this format. You got him. Guess what, fans? Guess what, Kings fans? You got him. I love the thing with Doughty, the way he did it. 8 years and bang, with that orchestral hit. That was very well done. And then his voice inflection, so well done as well. Now look, this is a great video. It is. I don't necessarily like it. I don't necessarily agree with it. But there's no denying it was entertaining to watch. It was very well put together. And every single thing he put in there was fact. So, gotta admit, Keenan, you got me on this one. You did. And, you know, it's true. Everything in the video was factual. But I'm going to end it with this last little fact, though, Keenan. In the last 50 years, the Kings have won 2 Stanley Cups. How many Stanley Cups have the Maple Leafs won again in the last 50 years? Oh yeah, that's right. 0. 8.8, that's where we're at, and that's where we're gonna stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have an 8.8, which is a great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's gonna do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.